War. War never changes.
Ugh.
All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to War Never Changes, episode number 20. My name's Jim, but I am joined by this man over. Oh, I'm sorry, this man over here. He is the president of the Just Cause Nation, Filbert 50 caliber McCracken Jr. Sir, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. How about you, buddy?
I'm doing really good. I'm having some weird computer issues as kind of the norm for me lately. I don't know what is going on. We had this show running perfectly, and then last week, randomly, my feed cut out. And ever since then, it's been downhill. Downhill.
It's that trash NVIDIA 2080 Ti you're running. Oh!
Damn.
I mean, they released the day they released the new ones, your shit started fucking up.
Dude, you're right. Dude, you know what? You're right. I don't know what to say. I tinkered with it offline. I use my phone to call myself, and I play with Skype for hours, tweaking it, refining it. I run a test with you this morning, diddling with it, flipping the knob, jiggling it, trying to figure out why won't anything happen? It's just not working. And then everything, I feel like I got it. Everything's fine. Everything's good to go. I call you on, or you call me on Skype. You said your background sucks. I changed the background to Aloy, and everything's completely hosed.
That's not how it happened. I said, you don't have enough video game stuff in your background anymore because the Fallout helmet's gone. And you're like, My Little Pony. That's how it happened. Can you just, like, right here, can you put NSFW Brody warning? Just, like, flashing. Oh, God.
It's my buddy. All right, so I think we're good. I'm using a different way to record. People are probably like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But you know what? We're going to go with it. We're good. We're recording. Let's do it. So we got a lot to talk about today, sir. Big news.
Huge.
Last night at 3 o'clock in the morning. Xbox, who had been kind of leaked, I guess. The Series X had kind of leaked. Pictures were starting to circulate around it, and people knew it was a thing. We knew it was a thing already, but starting to see photos of it. A lot of different YouTubers were putting content out, talking about what they thought the price was, the release date was. Xbox said, okay, you got us. And in the middle of the night, at least on the East Coast where I live, we get the tweet that, yes, it's real. Yes, it's coming November 10th for $299 US.
I couldn't have made up a weirder story how this would get leaked.
Right?
Than the marketing team of Pringles South Africa leaking a promo sheet that had value details in the fine print. I mean, who's looking through this stuff, really?
That's crazy.
That's great.
That is COVID at its. You want to talk about like COVID ingenuity? When you're so bored, you're reading the terms and like conditions of anything. The fact that somebody's got this scroll and they're reading through and they're like, "I found it. Here it is." And that was the way that this closely guarded secret for probably at least 3 years had been leaked. It's like we think of everything now, dude.
Someone was pooping and didn't have cell phone reception. That's the only thing they had to read. That's the only thing. A Pringles boilerplate legalese fine print. That's what they had to read.
That's right. They read the toothpaste. They read the soap. They're like, well, let me just go ahead and read the terms and agreements. So a couple things struck me odd in this announcement. I want to read through the technical specs, and then I want to get your thoughts on some of them.
Okay.
This is an all-digital console, which means there will be no optical drive. It's self-proclaimed up to 120 frames a second at 1440p, includes DirectX ray tracing, It's got a custom 512 gigabyte solid state drive, and it will support 4K streaming media and potential 4K upscaling with select games. What do you think?
I'm glad that I purposefully did not read into it other than verifying the announcement was real so I could send it to you. I didn't read up anything about the console other than the price, and I'm glad because I wanted to give you a genuine reaction to me hearing about it. And the thing that stuck out most to me is bullshit on the frame rate, bull fucking shit.
Yeah.
And have we not moved past the 500 gigabyte hard drive? Like I have Call of Duty, which I think is up to almost 300 gigabytes by itself. And by the way, when they say 512 gigabyte solid state drive, you're getting 412 gigabytes available because the operating system and every other stupid thing no one asked for, the new user interface is on there taking up all the room. This is your new portable Call of Duty machine. That's all you can do with this. Call of Duty and like a couple of indie games. And let's hope that you have indie games you like because it's the only other shit that's going to fit after you fucking put Call of Duty on it. So I say great price, nice looking little piece of hardware, trash.
I agree. I think it's got a really cool aesthetic to it. I've seen people already doing memes of it being like a boom box and like a just speaker and all these. It looks nice to me. It's a very clean piece of hardware. But what struck me odd, yes, was the DirectX ray tracing for sure. I have as we mentioned, a trashy 2080 Ti, clearly last generation, on its last legs. If the video is grainy in today's video, I apologize, guys. I will tell you on my 2080 Ti with an i9, I cannot run games with ray tracing at all. It kills my frame rate. I'm getting 130 frames a second. I turn it on, I'm getting 25 to 30 frames a second. That radical of a change. So I'm concerned that the ray tracing thing is not really viable. The one that you pointed out that I definitely agree with is that weird hard drive. Like, you're right, it's not going to be 512. And the fact that it's going to be all digital, you're going to not be able to put a lot of stuff on here. And that's very worrisome. If you want to go all digital, that's fine. You need to at least give me a terabyte to work with, at least. The fact that Game Pass is this great library, well, that's good because you're going to be able to look at it while you're playing one or two games that you've installed because the rest of them are not going to fit.
Doesn't matter.
And I'm
trash anyway.
And I'm sure they did it for price point, but you're right. I mean, Call of Duty alone is a monster. It really is. I think the Halo Master Chief Collection's up to 120, 130 gigs. Halo 5. Gears of War, I know, is about 150 gigs right now. So any of those three games, you can get one of them. Maybe two if you want to just play around with like certain installation packages. But you're not going to get a lot of stuff on this. And I understand that they really were doubling down on solid state drives, and this is a big new revolution in technology for console gaming. Not so much on the PC side, but on the console side, that this is like a really big deal. And it just worries me. It is a budget price. That's great, but I feel like if you want to have a frame rate machine, which is what this is going to be, we're going to give you really high frame rate, really low resolution. That's fine. You really need to double down on that, and you need to give us at least a terabyte. You're going to be using an external drive with this no matter what. There's no way around it. And you're going to lose all those awesome features that they talked about with this ultra booting time and blah, blah, blah. That's all going to go out the window the second you plug in your USB 3 hard drive to get this thing to work.
While I'm rambling about my next point, could you do me a favor? Could you while we're doing this, could you Google the price point on a 512 gigabyte solid state drive and see how much that would cost just as a drive?
I
ramble. So it seems to me in my ramblings that this might, maybe I'm misunderstanding what Project xCloud is, but this seems like this is how we're going to sucker people into using Project xCloud and storing shit up in the cloud. Because, I mean, you've got the option to play Call of Duty, and then you have to find some sort of cloud resource because like Jim said, your USB 3.0 is not going to, even if you buy external solid state drives, it's not going to amp up and load up like it's advertised to do. So this seems like just a cheap way for them to sell a subscription service, which is going to be hugely profitable if it works.
$69.99 will get you an internal Samsung 860 Evo 512 gigabyte drive. So
Revolutionary, folks.
revolutionary. Well, I got to give them credit for sticking to their guns. I honestly, a part of me thought that this thing would never happen. I really, truly thought that the Xbox Series X was a myth. I thought they had scrapped it because it just seems to be this weird mid-tier where it's kind of sort of better than an Xbox One X, but definitely significantly weaker than an Xbox Series X. And it falls in kind of a weird space. I'm not sure who this console is for. I think a lot of the things they talk about do sound cool on paper. I think in application, they're not going to happen, and that's just based on my experience. And I think that it's just not a smart move, really, for most gamers. But I'm sure people are going to buy it. They're going to see, hey, new Xbox, $300, I'm sold. They're not going to understand the things that they're really giving up. A lot of the features the Series X promises, hard drive space that pretty much every console has at this point. I think it's one of those things where it's a cheap console, and now we know why it's cheap.
Yeah, I love how they went out of the way to like give it this mysterious name, like Project Lockhart, and guess what? It's just fucking Xbox Series S. Instead of one S, it's Series S. I don't know. I feel like they could have just been transparent and called it the fucking Series S. And I don't know. That was just a stupid little point that I wanted to make.
They love their code names. It's funny because when we were watching, when the announcement came out and we saw the price and everything confirmed, Aaron Greenberg from Xbox, he's like one of their vice presidents of, I don't know what the hell he does. He tweeted, "It's a great console because it'll fit in your backpack." And that really made me laugh because my wife goes, "Oh, that's cute. It's a little travel console you can back up when you go on the road." It's like, it's not your main console. That's going to be plugged into your house. That's the real thing. But like, when you're hurting, it's like, I don't really want to play Switch. I guess I'll take the Series X. Like, to me, it's already been just downvoted to just like a, eh. I really think it's a big misfire. I know me personally, I've been very hard on Xbox on this show for a very long time. This did not win me over. I'm happy that they are releasing a console that's a budget console, I guess. You know what I think about? You know what this really makes me think about? This is a good Jim story. Did you buy the 360 at launch, the Xbox 360 at launch? Did you go wait at a store like I did, or did you get it online?
GameStop in Greece.
Okay. In Greece, the country?
No, in Greece, the town.
Man, this guy's like, I'm going to goddamn Greece. Let's get in the boat. Let's go. There's gonna be nobody there getting Xboxes. We're gonna be first in line.
Everyone else is broke.
I was gonna say the country. That's actually a really good idea. Let's go to the most bankrupt country. Let's score like 7 of them. All right. So Rachel and I went to Walmart. We went to the Walmart down the street from us, and we were 16th and 17th in line. And we were there all day inside the store. I think we got there at like 9 o'clock, and then they released them. At 10 o'clock, they handed out tickets, and then they cut us loose, and they said, bring this ticket back at midnight, and we'll sell you one. The first 17 people got what they called like the premium, and then everybody else behind them, there was like 12 of them, they got the core. And if you remember the core console, it was the basic bitch console. It had no memory card. I think it had a wind-up crank on it. So everybody's in line like, oh yeah, we want the Elite, or whatever it was called. And then they're like, okay, I was the last one. And then behind us was the core. And I remember this little kid. He was trying to like put a poker face on for his mom. And she's like, well, honey, unfortunately, we didn't get the premium, but we did get the core. And he's like, thanks, Mom. You can just see this kid just fucking die. Like, legit just die at that moment, that exact moment. Because it's like, well, you are getting an Xbox, but it's the shitty one.
You greedy fuck. Because you had to have 2. You ruined that little kid's Christmas dreams. You piece of shit.
In all fairness, I don't believe he was number one in line. I think he was like 2 or 3. I could be wrong. It was Phil. It was a long time ago, but I just remembered like stepping over his corpse on the way out of the store with my console in every game because But I just like it takes me back to that moment of like the excitement of Christmas Day. A kid's gonna rip open this box and he's gonna see Xbox and his eyes are gonna get huge, and then he's gonna see Series S and he's gonna be like, "Oh, hey, well, thanks, Ma. Yeah,
No, it's a fun little Fortnite machine. He'll be fine."
I agree with you. All kidding aside, the poor kid. He was probably one of the 3 people that watches this show, and he's like, "Now I knew. I thought that guy looked familiar." So if I don't make it next week, good luck. But all kidding aside, I think back to kind of where we were a year ago. Talking about this, I mean, before we started our show, I mean, even episode 1 of our show, really, when we knew that the Lockhart existed, and it just never really seemed appealing, and now I've seen it, and I'm like, but it is going to be a Game Pass machine. That's what they promised they were going to do. They were going to release a Game Pass machine, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Have fun with all those not appealing Game Pass games.
I wanted to. I tried to look online because I was way too lazy to do it. I wanted to see what the aggregate review score was of Game Pass games, just out of sheer curiosity. And I don't feel like doing it myself. That'd be a fun exercise that's going to take way too long. But every Game Pass game I get, really with the exception of like 3 or 4 of them, definitely Halo Master Chief Collection, definitely Sea of Thieves on the wall behind me. There's a few other ones that really stand out that I really, really like. Dishonored 2 it's one of my favorite games ever. But I'm really surprised how bad these games are. And I know they keep hyping up Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, but I feel like eventually the other shoe's going to drop and somebody's going to look at these and go, these aren't that great of games. Like, you're really hyping up a pretty mediocre library.
Yeah, they're all proud of Xbox Game Pass, which hasn't changed its name yet, is super proud of a little game they call Microsoft Flight Simulator that you can't fucking play on an Xbox.
Or on a trashy 2080 Ti, I'm getting like 30 frames a second, barely. I uninstalled it after, I think it's like 200 something gigabytes. So even if you could get it on your Series S, you would get to play it, and that'd be your game. I don't know. So moving on from the Series S. Well, one last question for you. Seeing this now, I think I already know the answer, but just so we're leaving nothing to ambiguity. Did this get you excited and actually starting to solidify that this is actually real? Like, the price is happening, like, oh my God, was it like a moment of excitement, or were you just like, it's about time? Like, what were you thinking? Because I know a lot of people really want to know this stuff.
No, I was excited, and truth be told,
I thought so.
Maybe it's because I'm an asshole, but I immediately used that as my springboard to think they announced theirs, maybe Sony announced theirs.
Right.
And I actually care about Sony's, so I went and looked, and Sony was like, wah, wah, wah.
Well, we had, we're recording one day early because I have to work tomorrow. Sucker. So I'm going to be late. So we decided to record early, but there was talks, and you're on the bandwagon. I don't think I am. You think that tomorrow we may actually see something from Sony?
I have hope. I have realistic hope in my heart.
I do too. I mean, I wonder now that the opening salvo has been fired, if Sony can say, okay, like, we're justified in our price. Because it's going to be more than $300. Like, first of all. I don't know if they look at it and go, oh, it's $101 cheaper than ours. Whew. Like, I don't know how much number crunching they're doing, but like, this stupid Cold War that these guys are having, like, maybe it's going to be over now and we'll just get on with our lives. Just let us pre-order it. If you win, great. If not, great. And let's just move on. Right?
Yeah. How big's the hard drive in their digital-only console?
I believe they're both 1 terabyte. I haven't seen, for sure 1 terabyte. I don't know. I've seen some variants that say there might be a 2 terabyte option, but I haven't confirmed that. That's just...
Yeah, well then, no shit it's going to cost more. It's going to be a more fucking functional console.
Yeah. I think that's part of the big thing is I wonder, hard drive space alone, there's a reason this is cheaper than just the hard drive. They're definitely removing something. Processing power. Once you get the tech specs, we'll be able to really know between the S and the X. I just don't know if it's justifiable for the cost. And I wonder how many people, unfortunately, are going to buy this thinking it's something more than it is. And then seeing it struggle, just like I have my original Xbox One, the Forza Racing Edition, that struggles to play Forza Horizon with you. It struggles. It's not getting 60 frames a second. It's barely getting 30. So yes, it's all under that umbrella of Xbox consoles, but I'm afraid this is going to be like the lame duck in a year from now, and it's going to have a hard time keeping up.
Yeah, I'm disappointed because they'll come out with a 1 terabyte version of it eventually, but
Right.
I mean, we have to figure out what the crossplay situation with Halo Infinite is going to be, and if you and I can play together, I am going to buy an Xbox so that I can play Halo. And this is probably the one that I would get. This is the one I would get just because of the, I'm going to buy it to play a game, you know what I mean? So it's going to be a $300 it's going to be a $300 Halo machine essentially, and that's fine. But I wonder if it's even going to be able to handle Halo Infinite, even if all of that does come to fruition.
Mark my words, in a year from now or whenever you get this, you're gonna be like that little kid, like it's not so bad.
Well, what do you want me to do? Spend $300 on a product? Be like, this is a piece of shit.
No, I want you to join the PC master race. Join us in World Conquest. We will own this world.
For months I've been waiting for you to send this list over.
I forgot you're helpless. Moving on.
When I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about and nothing, like earlier you were like, I'm running a shitty blah 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 ray tracing and an i9. I was thinking to myself, what the fuck is an i9? I have no idea what he's talking about. Someone who's computer literate or gaming computer literate might know what that means, but I sure as shit don't.
One day we'll get you on board, Phil.
If you needed to know about hammers, I would tell you about different hammers. So you can go fuck yourself, Jim.
Moving on to part of Phil's rage. Now that I poked the bear intentionally, this was on purpose to get you going for the next topic, which was your Xbox One console drama, which took place this weekend. I was there. I wish we were able to fix the problem sooner, but rest assured we did fix the problem. Phil, would you like to enlighten us what the hell happened to your awesome Cyberpunk limited edition console?
Yeah, the controller was going wonky and the connection kept cutting out, which affected my ability to hook up other wireless. Well, that's not a good summation. So the way that my SteelSeries Arctis 9X headphones work is they connect and pair with the Xbox the same way that the controller does. So if your controller isn't working properly, neither will your headset. So I kept getting disconnected and it was affecting the actual way the game was playing. Like it was super choppy and looking screwed up, and I kept getting my controller disconnected. So we troubleshot through a lot of different stuff and none of it worked. And then finally you came across an article saying that all of the problems I'm describing lead back to a controller update. I updated my controller and everything works perfectly. So it worked out in the end.
It's crazy to me. We knew something was wrong because we were playing Call of Duty and Phil got 2 kills instead of the normal 4. So we knew there was a technical issue.
I haven't gotten less than 20 kills in a match in the last 3 or 4 months. So
yeah, that's nice.
Mr. 50 assists.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, it's the assist weapon. I was blown away, honestly, that a controller update had so much bearing on everything. And it's such a random thing. I was really scratching my head trying to figure out what the hell kind of firmware is being updated on a controller that's a legacy controller from 7 years ago. Yes, with the new paint job, the Cyberpunk colors, whatever. Nothing on that controller has changed minus the 3.5 millimeter jack, which, okay, maybe. But that was like 4 years ago. I'm shocked that has firmware with it that bugs out, that causes other problems, and I'm even more shocked that they allow you to play with an older controller to even begin with. That really just was very surprising to me.
why are they shipping? Because it's not like it's a brand new controller. It came with the console, like you said. It's got the Cyberpunk paint job. Why are they shipping controllers that are out of date? Not only out of date, but so horribly out of date that they don't work. Like
It's
it
weird.
updated. It updated to firmware version 5. It was on firmware version like 2.1. So
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, man.
It's a weird situation because it worked when you got it.
It worked fine for months.
So yeah, on our channel, if you go back to like the third or fourth video, there is a video of Phil opening it up. You could see it. And that was not that long ago. And it looks, like it's a very new idea. Like it's a very new console. It's so shocking that they would put something so old in there that it would update. It's weird. What really made me laugh though was when we were getting ready for our show today, texting some ideas back and forth. You wrote me a text saying my super awesome console is going to launch 9 days. The game that this console is designed for is going to launch 9 days after the shiny new Series X is unveiled, and it seems like a really big misstep. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, like that's kind of embarrassing and another kind of embarrassing thing, right? Like Xbox didn't think this through. I mean, they can't control when Cyberpunk comes out, but like they really were hot to get this thing out to sell it, and now it seems kind of weird in a weird way.
Well, blah blah blah, smart delivery, blah blah blah. If you upgrade your console, you'll automatically get the best version of the game, blah blah blah. But still, the new fucking consoles come out, and then 9 days later, maybe, unless they have to fucking move it back for the 4th time, maybe this game will come out. And I just think, like, why didn't you do a Cyberpunk edition of maybe the new console? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know.
It's very, yeah, the logistics of some of these things is definitely very bizarre. I did a separate video last week about Halo's campaign with Monster Energy drinks, where you can go to the, I don't drink Monster Energy, but you can go to the store now and buy Monster Energy drink like double XP cans. But Halo's been delayed. But they already did the logistics for this like, I don't know, a year ago. So some guy's sitting at the factory making these cans. He's like, I don't know anything about video games. And then he's like, hey, I got your crate of like 9,000 Monster Energy drinks with Halo Infinite, Master Chief on it. What do you want us to do? And it's like, well, sell them. So now you could sell it and bank your codes in some special database for in a year or so when the game does come out. Then you'll get your bonus experience tokens. So it's like, so this seems to me like another one of those like logistics in the sense is kind of hurting it, but at the same time, like, yeah, the people who have these really awesome Cyberpunk consoles, I'm sure planned on playing Cyberpunk because you wouldn't have bought this to turn around and buy a Series S, 4 months later, however old this thing is. It seems odd. Now knowing what we know, it seems very odd. And this was a $500 collector edition, I think. And this was a full price Xbox One X.
Yeah. Yeah, and it came with like a Keanu Reeves statue and a spare controller. But I don't know, man. It's almost like Microsoft isn't communicating with their partners, like what's happening and what's going on. Because this seems like a huge misstep. I mean, maybe it's CD Projekt Red's fault, and they're like, yeah, the cycle for production is going to have us launching the game in September, and I don't know how long it takes to design and slap a fucking paint job on an established console, but Probably not that long. But maybe it's something they legitimately couldn't help. I don't know. But then again, this is a company that got outed by Pringles.
God damn, Mr. Pringles once again. Foiled. Yeah, I don't know, man. So wrapping it up with the Xbox portion of our show, do you think that this assumes with the Series S coming out, the X is launching on the same day?
Yes, so the X will launch on the same day, and it's already confirmed to be $499 US.
But you think it'll be that? You don't think? Part of me thought, I should have mentioned this earlier when we were talking a little bit more about it, but part of me thought they're going to release this first for people who just can't wait, and then they're going to launch the real one like a month later because they're gonna try to like play with your emotions a little bit.
Oh, I
Like you
don't
need
know.
this, like you want it, you want next gen now, or do you want it later? Do you want it now? You want it right here? It is right now. Here it is. Here it is. It's a great second travel console. It fits in your backpack.
Yeah, yeah. The Nintendo Switch doesn't exist. Don't Google that. Definitely don't. And it's not less expensive either. Don't even do it. Don't look at it. I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure that the Pringles flyer gave the launch date and great value
We
for
got
both consoles. So I'm pretty sure they're going to launch on the same day.
We gotta. Does the Pringles guy have a name? Like, you know, Monopoly's like Uncle Pennybags. Like, I wonder if the Pringles guy is like, you know, Joe Pringles or something.
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't know. All I know is that I think the slogan is "Once you pop, you just can't stop," and that's a great slogan for pill addicts.
That's right. And Pringles pepperoni pizza flavored chips because they're pretty good.
Yeah, those bitches are tasty, but Pringles is the reason why the guy that found it wound up on the toilet in the first place.
Full circle, man. It always comes back. Moving off of Xbox onto Nintendo. Actually, we have some crazy Nintendo news. So, in order of reveal, last week we got this awesome Mario 35 reveal. It is real. They are releasing 2 games, and I want to talk about those. The first one is Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which includes Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy 1. What do you think about that?
I'm super excited, although I've seen a lot of funny memes comparing the remaster of Spyro to the remaster of of Super Mario 64. And like Super Mario 64 looks like slightly better trash than it did back in 1995 or 96 or whenever it came out. But I don't care about that. In fact, I almost kind of prefer it that way.
Okay.
Because that's the full nostalgia factor. But that was a full price game, so they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I was initially very hyped on this because this was just a 20-minute Nintendo Direct of just really cool announcement after really cool announcement. And this was just one of many things. It wasn't like they had a Nintendo Direct just for this game. They announced some other stuff, which we'll talk about in a minute. But it was a really dense presentation. It had some really good things. But initially, I was like you. I was very hyped up. Oh, my God, I can't believe it. And then I thought about it. I'm like, this is lazy. This is like... You guys could do better. First of all, you could have included Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2. You could have. Make it a complete pack. Why are you leaving out Galaxy 2? That doesn't make any sense. Then I thought about it more and I'm like, you've done nothing to this game. This is the original game that like, yo, you made the screen a little wider. Like, oh wow, that was really world-class engineering. Like you moved the camera back half an inch. Like, come on. It's a little frustrating that they didn't do anything. They didn't add any bonus modes. They didn't add any bonus features. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, we'll just pull this old thing off the shelf. And, oh, here you go, take it. And it just doesn't really feel like a true celebration of Mario, I guess. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too hard on it, but it's cool, but at the same time, it just seems lazy. They could do better.
I agree. I totally agree, buddy. Man, the overwhelming nostalgia factor for me is giving them some sort of leeway in my mind. But you're right, it was totally lazy. It was a BS move. But I pre-ordered it immediately. I paid for it in full, and it's coming September 18th. It's coming, and I'm going to enjoy the shit out of replaying it.
Yes, I'm with you in the sense that there is that nostalgia factor of Mario with like a triangle nose because that's the best we could do back then, and like it being janky. There is something fun about that. But yeah, I feel like they could have done better. They could have bundled it with more stuff. They could have reduced the price. It could have been somehow bundled into the Nintendo Online service, and I don't know. The one that
did you pre-order it?
Yeah, oh yeah, no, day one, I'm ready. I already got it, I'm ready to go.
Then shut the fuck up.
Oh no, that's what no, as we have established on this show, Phil, many, many times, I am a total hypocrite. Like, I am totally a hypocrite. So I'm like, Ubisoft does really bad things, and I pre-order everything. Like, I'm ready to go.
Like, you're sitting there playing it. Man, this looks like shit. Come here, baby penguin.
Yeah.
Take my anger out
I
on you.
cannot wait to get to that level, to slide down the ramp, the baby penguin there, and to boot his ass like old times. Just like, yep. And look his mom, this dead look in her eyes, and like, I did that.
What if that's the one feature they changed and you can't do that anymore? Do we riot in the streets?
We riot in the streets if the penguin either has a fence around the wall or the penguin has wings. Then he flies
Penguins
away.
fly.
Well, he's got the little hat. Like Mario had the little hat with the little, the little red hat where you get the 8 red coins and you fly away. He's like, yeah, bitch. Come at me now, bitch. You get to the bottom, he picks you up and throws you off the cliff. He's like all jacked up.
Of the 3 games, what are you going to play first?
Probably Mario Galaxy, because that's really one of my favorites. And I'm really curious to see how they handle the lack of the Wiimote to collect the stars on the screen. I know they said they're using the analog stick for it, but I thought that was for the camera. So I'm not really sure how that's... I think more out of just sheer curiosity. But I really did like Mario Galaxy a lot, so definitely that's where I'm going to be starting.
That's dumb. All right, what else were you going to say?
What are you going to start with? Mario 64?
Yeah.
To me, I'm saving the best for last. How about that?
Well, the best is Sunshine, so...
I never beat Sunshine. I remember I got to a level in Sunshine where you had to chase, like, evil Mario. And the music was all intense, and I'm like, this is too much. It's getting
You had to chase him several times, so I don't think you made it very
Oh, no,
far.
I did. Yeah, I got real sweaty.
I think that's like level 2.
Press A to start. I'm like, whoa. This is a big commitment, guys.
You're changing the whole deal here.
I wasn't signing up for this. The one that I'm really excited for, and it leads into kind of the same thing as this, with this weird exclusivity we'll get to in a second. But the one I'm really eager to play is Super Mario Brothers 35, which is going to be like Mario Battle Royale in a sense, where like, have you played Tetris 99 online yet? Have you checked that out?
No.
Okay, so Mario Brothers 35 is going to be a similar thing, where depending on how good you are, you're going to be able to like screw other people around you. It's going to be, and it's like how fast you can run or like collect coins or beat the levels. And you'll spawn enemies and you'll spawn other things to hurt other players to be the sole survivor. So it's kind of like Battle Royale Mario. I think it's a cool idea. It's an old game. We've all I wouldn't say speed run it per se, but we all know Mario. Like, you're not going to take your time on that game. You're going to haul ass through it. So why not make a cool twist on it?
Yeah, it's going to be fun until you get into a lobby with 2 professional fucking speedrunners and you're just getting fucked in the ass by fucking shells.
So what frustrates me about this, though, and this ties into both this game and Super Mario 3D All-Stars, is that they're limited editions. So after a while, they will not be available for purchase either in retail stores or digitally. They're gone. Does that bother you? And should it bother you is part 2 of that.
It doesn't bother me because that's just a typical business tactic. I mean, Cadillac did the same thing with the Escalade. They're like, there's only going to be so many of these. If you find one, buy it because there's not any more coming this year. Okay. And they created artificial scarcity, and it's a great tactic. But trust me, Disney does the same shit. The stuff goes in the vault, and then 10 years later, comes out of the vault, and it's for sale again.
Yes, I saw a lot of references to the fabled Disney Vault, and that scarcity. Now, that's a common practice from Nintendo. That's something they've been doing forever. They always under-deliver on products to force the hype. Stores would request like 1,000 Switches to sell. Not even Switch, going back to the original Nintendo Entertainment System. Nintendo intentionally shortchanged product to build up hype. No store ever got their full orders of games or peripherals because there's always the hot item, and they forced it that way. I understand the business tactic. I think it doesn't bother me. It probably should. I'm going to buy it when it comes out. I guess the only argument really is if you were planning on buying a Switch but you didn't have one yet, or you weren't going to have one by next year, you would miss out. But then I would say, then what the hell, like, I guess that's the really limited exclusive case in which somebody really legitimately, like, I'm going to save a penny a day, and in 2070, I'm finally going to be able to afford this thing. Like, to me, I feel like that's such a niche category of people that it doesn't really impact really any of us, honestly.
If you've been wanting a Switch and you haven't found a reason in like Breath of the Wild or, you know, Super Mario Odyssey or something like that, if you haven't, or Pokemon, if you haven't found a reason to buy it yet, if you don't have a Switch yet and you're like, oh man, like, you're too late, bitch. I don't fucking care about you. You've had ample time.
No, I agree with you, and I mean, honestly, you're not sugarcoating it, and I appreciate that. But I'm kind of in the same boat, and I just question, why would they do this? Like, it doesn't hurt Nintendo to leave old shit on their digital storefront. You want to do a limited physical release? I understand. You're not going to be able to go to the store and buy Max Payne 1 anymore. It's gone. It's a great game, but you're not going to find it in a store. But you will find it on Steam. You'll find it on the Xbox store. You'll find it on the PlayStation store, or whatever. It's still out there if you want it. The fact that they're going the extra mile to remove it digitally seems like more work just to screw you. To force you to get it now. Like, we're going to dangle this in front of your face until, oh, it's gone. You missed it. Too bad. All your friends are playing it and you're not. It seems a little shady.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is what they've always done. You should expect it. It's been their tactic since day one. They're going to keep doing it because guess what? It always fucking works.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, Nintendo's been very successful in shortchanging things. I remember when the Nintendo Switch sold out almost instantly across the world. I was fortunate enough to go up to the New York store for the pre-order. They had more, and the store said, we have more, but we're not going to release them until tomorrow, so come back tomorrow. We want more people to come back and build up hype again. And there was a line around the building, and they sent people home. And they had a door of, like, a huge room. They closed the door and, like, go home. And they're, like, right there. I'm like, just sell it to us. Like, no, we'll do it tomorrow. And it wasn't like it was too late in the night. It was just, we've met our quota of sales for the day. So.
Yeah. Well, that's scummy. That's a terrible thing to do. But, what are you going to do? You can't fight fate. If they don't want to sell it to you, they don't have to sell it to you.
I guess. I guess the alternative is to what? Say, I am not buying this product. I don't believe in this, and I'm going to take my money elsewhere. But I think they know you're going to come back.
Either that, or they'll find someone else.
Sure.
I mean, let's think about it this way. Does Nintendo, we think about major franchises that people are loyal enough to and love enough to buy a console for. So let's think of the Fallouts of the world, the Halos, the Call of Duties,
right,
blah, 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 whatever. Does Nintendo have 10 franchises that are beloved enough, that have that big of a following, do they have 10 of those that you can think of? Because it seems to me like they just keep coming out with the iterations of like the same 6 franchises, and they sell copies of those games and consoles like hotcakes based on it. Like, if they stopped making everything but Legend of Zelda games, Animal Crossing, and Super Mario based games, and they stopped making everything else, they would still sell consoles. They'd sell every single one they made.
I agree. It's crazy. Yeah, they definitely dip into the well quite a bit on some of their franchises. I think at the sake of other really good ones that I do miss a lot. But yeah, you're right. I guess there's just something timeless about their games, and their games are just better. Like, they're just more polished and more refined. They really do. They are really examples of defining genres and defining time periods. So, yeah, I think if Nintendo said we're only making Mario from here on out, I think people would still buy them. I do.
Yeah, they have a basic system that works very well.
Yes.
And it's worked well for a very long time. Why in God's name would they change it? Well, you know what to expect from them. They're like, hey, we're the kid in high school that's going to try to bang your sister, and I'm probably going to be successful, and I'm not going to stick around afterwards, but I'm also going to play really good football for the local team, and I'm going to do all the charity events. You know who I am. You know who I am as a person. I'm
That's
not
true.
ashamed of it.
That's
You
true.
know what to expect from me. Don't act surprised when you catch me in your sister's room, man. Don't do it.
Wow. That was oddly specific. And his name is Chatty Daddy. I'll tell you what I miss. I miss Star Fox. I miss Kid Icarus. I miss Punch Out. I miss Metroid. I miss Pilot Wings.
Do a
Where,
barrel roll.
do a barrel. Where are my games? Yet we're getting, like, I'm the kind of idiot that if they release Star Fox 64, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. On Switch, and it's probably already on Switch, I'd still buy it
Same here.
again.
Same here. I'd do it. I'd have it right now.
So I guess I'm the worst person because I have a room upstairs, a whole wall dedicated to Nintendo, pictures and frames and stuff, and posters, collectibles, and I love everything they do.
Dude, they defined our childhood, and that's why their system works.
I think
Is
so.
because these games are a known commodity, and they have great quality control. We know exactly what kind of product we're going to get each and every time. We know we're going to love it, so we don't care that they don't come out with new things or whatever. They have their stupid, quirky little thing that they put out every generation
Yep.
or every couple of years. This year, it's like a VR racer that's $100 that costs 12 cents to produce that you're going to go buy and play with 6 times and then never touch again, and it'll be a display piece.
Probably.
But hey, that's their thing, and if it sells, well, great. If not, they're going to sell 1 billion copies of Mario All Stars.
Yeah, you're probably right. I remember when the Wii came out, and it was a very revolutionary console. It sold very well, particularly because a lot of older people were getting into it. Like I remember, like the nursing home bowling league and that kind of thing. It was simple to use. It was fun. It was easy. It was cheaper, way cheaper than the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360. And I remember playing the hell out of it. And that's when they started that really virtual. That's when they really started to go very heavy digital. They had the Wii the Wii store, and I started buying all these old games again as like my virtual collection. And then the Wii U came out, and I bought all these games as my virtual collection. And now the Switch is coming out, and I'm buying all these games as my virtual collection. I have quite the virtual collection, plural.
We think
And they keep doing the same shit, and I'm like, this is horrible. I'm buying it. And I'll be on that store, and I'll just start buying crap because I'm like, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And before you know it, I have Mario like 19 times.
we're
idiots.
we think Tom Howard's or Todd Howard's a monster because he keeps re-releasing Skyrim, but
Yeah, right?
he's just a blip on the radar compared to Nintendo.
Man, oh man. So the one thing that we didn't talk about, and I saved it in sequential order, was Hyrule Warriors announced today. Hyrule Warriors, The Age of Calamity. Are you excited for this? Because I am stoked.
No, I won't buy it and I won't play it.
What? Why? Tell me. I need to. Did you play the first Hyrule Warriors?
Nope, that sort of play style doesn't appeal to me. The 1 versus 1,000, which doesn't make sense because you're just smashing a button and swirling around in any Legend of Zelda game. So it shouldn't be that big of a departure. But those games are more driven by combat instead of story, and I prefer a Legend of Zelda that's driven by story. I don't care. I don't really care about the great. Well, that's not true. I shouldn't say I don't care about the Great Calamity, but I don't care about this game. The 1 versus 1,000 battles, they just don't do anything.
Are you
for me.
saying that you thought Breath of the Wild had a story, part A, and part B, a story that you cared about?
Yeah, it did have a story, but unlike you, I didn't decide that I don't care about all the peripheral characters and skip all the fucking cutscenes. You don't get to skip all the cutscenes and say, I don't care about this, and then accuse it of not having a story. Story you don't care about, fine, but don't accuse it of not having a story, shithead. You chatty daddy wage cuck.
The story was that you... Okay, time out. I want to hear what was the story of Breath of the Wild.
What do you mean?
You woke up from a vault 100 years after you died. Apparently, the world had gone to shit, and you end up killing the bad guy. The end. What did I miss?
Yeah, man. And there's some bokoblin guts that you get to mix into like stew, and you can create spicy curries. And it
Yeah,
was a lot of
and
fun.
that is
No,
not.
you had to go. You had to go reunite the four champions and take on Calamity Ganon with the power of the four whatever the creepy giant
Oh,
machine
the
things that
guardian
run around
beasts or
destroying
whatever.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. It was all about learning the history of the guardian beasts and getting in touch with the champions and learning different fighting styles.
Sounds really good. I'm really. I think I'm gonna go. Can we stop the
I'm sorry
podcast
that I
now
can't
so I can go
word
start
for
playing?
word repeat the entire plot, and I'm sorry that you clicked through it so you don't remember any of it. Like we're like he's earlier before we recorded this, he's like, "Do you recognize any of these characters?" Because I have no idea who they were. I recognized all of them. I knew who
You
two
got the
of the
names
out of the
perfect,
four
and I
of
was
them,
shocked.
their names,
So,
and he's and like and he's like, "Yeah, I decided in the cutscene I didn't care about this person. And I just skipped it." Dick.
two fucks. Because Zelda's not British, first of all. Hello there, Link. Chip, chip. No, stop. Don't talk like that. You're not. Don't do that. This is what I'm going to say. This game is structured. No, I'm not talking about Breath of the Wild. I'm talking back again about Hyrule Warriors. It's by Koei, who makes Dynasty Warriors. It's a complete ripoff of it, but that's what we knew. That's why it's got the word Warriors in it. Where you basically fight and group up waves of enemies, do ultimate moves. And they did something really cool with the first one, where they made it more than just a simple button press. They did add some strategy where you had to use boomerang against certain enemies, bombs against certain enemies, bows and arrows. There was light puzzles. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. So I'm really excited to see that they're sticking to that. This game says you'll involve environmental puzzles, new weapons, new skills, crafting materials, and you will use the Sheikah Slate. I don't know if that means you're going to use all the powers that were in the first one or Breath of the Wild, but it's in that art style. You're going to play as Link, Zelda, Daruk, Mipha, Rivali, and Urbosa. So Link's in there, so I'm covered. I don't have to play with these other idiots. I can just stick with Link. I'm ready, baby. Day one.
You don't want to play with British Zelda.
Well, so there's probably more characters. So what they did with Hyrule Warriors 1 is you're going to play with everyone. And what they do is, like, you even played with Ganon. Like, the world got turned upside down and everybody had to unite against a great evil. So they have a lot of... They're going to add people, like Tingles in there. Like, they're going to add just random people, you know? But I love the art style of Breath of the Wild so much. That's such a beautiful game that, like, you're going to just basically take those assets and add more enemies and stuff. As long as the frame rate doesn't suck ass like Breath of the Wild does, I'm in, baby.
Yeah, sounds enthralling. Speaking of Breath of the Wild, what would you rate on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 being completely, you can't do it, 5 being amazing, like the level of a Grand Theft Auto. What do you think the replayability of Breath of the Wild was? Because I found it to be less than 1. Like, I've tried to go back and replay it or continue the story and go find the motorcycle or whatever, and I'm so completely uninterested in replaying that game. It's not funny.
I was at like a 3 or a 4, but now I've fallen off like you have. A couple years ago, Amazon had this weird promotion of they'd give you a free book if you signed up for their Audible service, and the Zelda strategy guide was included as one of the books. So I bought it. That was my free book. It was this giant book. I mean, it's monster sized, and it's got locations of all the shrines and everything. And when I would get bored, I would just go through and just systematically... I mean, I found a bunch on my own, but I systematically went through and I got everything. I did every single possible mission, every shrine, everything. And it was okay. I don't know. I guess maybe there wasn't much out at the time. I have no desire to go back and play it again and restart the town and do any of the missions or any of the puzzles or anything. Like, they were fun at the time, but I've moved on. And I don't have any reason to go back and play that game again.
The only thing I didn't do was after the fact. I went back after the fact and I got like the legendary whatever, like the armors or whatever it was. Like there was 2 like legendary artifacts that you could get. I went and got those, and then there was the motorcycle, and I didn't do the motorcycle because I didn't care. But I've never, in my adult life, I've never bought a game guide because This exists. And when I'm trying to figure out something on a video game on like a level, I will actually Google
Oh,
something for
same,
myself.
same.
I know it's hard to believe that I would not call you to Google something for me, but I will actually do it. Like I was so tempted all weekend when I was playing Just Cause 3. I was like, man, I can't figure this out. I should have Jim Google it for me, but I didn't. I did it myself, and it worked out well. It wasn't as much fun, but it worked out. I'm so bad. We'll be like talking about the most basic thing, and I'll be like, "Hey, man, how do we do this?" And he'll send me like a passive aggressive link that shows you how to Google things.
Yeah, let me.
And then I'll just ask him. I'll like go silent and be passive aggressive until he feels bad and sends me the actual thing. Works every time. Every time.
Yeah, the let me Google that for you, where it automatically opens your browser and you see it being typed out very slowly, and the finger clicking go, and then it like gives you control of the computer again or your phone. I thought Breath of the Wild was. I didn't use the strategy guide when I played. I thought it was pretty intuitive of what I needed to do when I played. Some of the puzzles were tricky, but they were fun. I think that was part of the fun, is not cheating and trying to legitimately solve the puzzles. The hard thing I had was going back and trying to find all the other ones because they're scattered all over the place, and that was a little more difficult. Even with the little radar that kind of blinked to tell you were getting close. Sometimes they were under terrain, or they were like in a cave or something, and the entrance was in a weird spot. The one thing I'm really looking forward to most out of Hyrule Warriors is that weapons won't have durability. That you can just swing them to your heart's content, and you don't have to repair anything, and I'm looking forward to that.
That is a nice feature because that was super annoying in Breath of the Wild, but it also made you kind of think on your feet, which fine, whatever. But
So
what I,
the last little piece of the trailer, if you watch to the very end, did you see it said more details coming on 9/30? Did you see that at the very end? Do you think that that is more details about Hyrule Warriors, or do you think that is Breath of the Wild too?
that's actually what I was just about to mention when we both started talking at the same time. Is why I'm kind of like half-hearted on this game is because this means that Breath of the Wild 2 isn't coming for a long time.
Possibly. I mean, it is subbed out to Koei, so it wasn't like the core developers are working on it.
Why would they release two Zelda games back to back?
I don't. Okay, I think if they launch this could be. I think Breath of the Wild could still legitimately launch at the end of the year.
Okay. Hey, man, I defer. You know more about this stuff than I do. You study the industry way more than me. I'll defer to you. I don't see them doing that. I think Project Phoenix got a bee in their bonnet, or Legend of Phoenix, or whatever the fuck that Ubisoft ripoff is called. I think this got their bee in a bonnet, and the original release for this game was going to be on September 30th, and they had to move it up. And I think that this is a way to sate our appetites, because the first thing they mentioned was we're still developing the world.
Yes.
I mean, that doesn't sound like it's just around the river bend. It sounds like,
You're right.
Hey, man, we got 6 months to a year to work on this stuff.
You're right. I mean, part of me had thought that maybe it would go in tandem with the supposed Switch Pro or whatever the hell they're calling it. Part of me thought that you may see that console release with this game. It'll be like, hey, you could play it on your basic bitch Switch, or you could play it in stunning 4K or whatever on your Switch Pro.
I don't even know what the Switch Pro is. It's the first time I've ever heard of it. Don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's all for no. Okay, so the Switch Pro is exactly what you think it is. It's very similar to what the Xbox Series, Xbox One S and Xbox One X, the PlayStation 4 Pro became. It's a mid-cycle update, and there's been rumors that Switch is working on an updated unit called the Switch Pro or the Switch 2, which is going to have more hardware, more battery, whatever, but remain, supposedly, this is all rumor and speculation, still maintain backward compatibility. So all your old stuff will work, plus the new stuff, and oh, by the way, this will render things better, faster, whatever. So I could totally see this being a backdoor update into, oh, we love Breath of the Wild, well, you'll love it even more with this new piece of hardware.
I gotcha. So instead of being like the fun but shitty little potato it is, now it's going to be like the fun, less shitty potato. I mean, compared to the other two, it's a joke.
Yeah,
it really
is. It is.
It really fucking is. Like they're gonna make a slightly better turd. Like this turd stinks a little less. We ate some pineapple.
I mean, it is impressive that they can get some of the games they can get on it. Like Mario Odyssey, phenomenal experience. Breath of the Wild did have some hitches. But they do make good open world games when they want to, and dude, Breath of the Wild had hitches. I don't know how to tell you this. I'm sorry that you don't see it. It happened.
You had to play it on a potato, you asshole. What do you want?
I want it to look good.
It looked good for being have to fucking play it on a potato.
The one thing I hated that Zelda did, in general, and I think this went back to, God, it was an older one. It was definitely after Ocarina of Time, though. They added this mechanic that when you kill an enemy, the game would freeze for a second. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like you'd hit an enemy and it'd be like, boom, and like everything would freeze for like half a second, and then it would like normal, like progress in time. I hate that mechanic. That hitching is how I played Breath of the Wild. Running up a tree and then running again. You know, it's like oh look, I'm gonna use my grappling hook, or I'm gonna use whatever. Like I'm gonna use something. I'm gonna use my bomb, and it's like I'm gonna pull out my bomb, and then I'm and it just hit me in the face. And they're like, oh, put it on your solid state drive, or install it on the internal memory. Play it docked, play it undocked, play it with high brightness, low brightness. No. They need to fix that. And I'm telling you, now that you're playing an Xbox One X, you don't notice this anymore. But I'm telling you, you maybe just didn't have this trained eye. I'm telling you, after playing these really smooth games, that game to go back and play now is a chore. Maybe that should be your homework. Go back and check it out. Get a shrine. Tell me what you think. Any shrine.
Like a shrine.
Yeah, see?
No, see? I had a slight hitch, you see? And totally ruined the game for me, because I'm a little bitch, see?
Well, Phil, on that wonderful note. So this is my promise to you, and then I've said my piece for the day. If PlayStation announces anything before next week, I will get Phil back together, and we will talk about just that. We'll have just a special hot topic just on the PlayStation thing. I really, really, really hope I'm wrong, and I really hope that they do announce something, but I know they're not. But I hope they do, but I know they're not.
Well, folks, much like Jim never changes his opinion about stupid little problems that don't actually exist in really fantastic games, war never changes.